Hey, everybody, and welcome to a very special edition of Travel Tips Tuesday. Got a very special guest I'm going to bring on here in just a second. So, as normal with the pre-show stuff, I'm kind of still getting settled at the last minute, but we are good to go. I want to make sure we give enough time to talk about what we're going to talk about tonight. So, we're not going to be camping out a whole lot on Disney destinations tonight at all, which is going to be kind of a little bit of a departure for us. But we're going to talk about a very fun topic, I think, that will give us a lot of insight, especially if you're looking to travel next year. Hopefully, this will be helpful for you. So, if you are watching live tonight, would really appreciate you to like or share this post wherever you may be watching, whether you're on the official Travel Tips Tuesday Facebook page or on YouTube or on my personal page as well. So, got a special guest we're going to have on tonight, and we're going to chat a lot. I've been on his show before, and a couple of months, twice, I think. And now he's kind of going to hang out with us for a little bit. And he's actually my neighbor in a way. He just lives a few miles down the road from me. So this is going to be kind of fun. So let's go ahead and get started, shall we? Tonight, this is Travel Tips Tuesday, and it is November the 23rd, 2021. And our question of the day is, what is your most favorite holiday tradition? What is your most favorite holiday tradition? How are you going to celebrate the holidays? What are you going to be doing this year to celebrate? And what is that favorite tradition that you do year in and year out? And would love to know that from you. So, what is your most favorite holiday tradition? Would love for you to share that with us tonight, and would love to pop that on the screen here in just a little bit. So, our conversation tonight is going to be our topic for discussion is going to be all about cruising. So again, normally we talk about Disney parks. I gave a brief Run Disney update about my training journey for the Dopey Challenge in January recently, and we've talked about the parts of the holidays. We talked about the 50th anniversary, but there are other amazing travel destinations to go to, like all-inclusive resorts, like land tours and cruise lines. If you have not been keeping up, cruising is definitely coming back. All major cruise lines have ships back in the water. They've redeployed ships that they've seen necessary. There are new cruise ships that are being manufactured. We're going to talk about one of them tonight that just had their inaugural sailing, and then just the first normal sailing that my friend Dave was on, who's going to be on with us. So we're going to take a moment to chat a little bit about Royal Caribbean's Odyssey of the Seas with my buddy Dave Adams. But first, as we normally do, let's go ahead and chat a little bit about some Disney news. So a few things to mention. First off, and this is first couple of things are kind of not so fun, but sales of new annual passes at Walt Disney World have been paused, except for the new Pixie Dust Pass that's currently available for Florida residents. And that was announced, quasi-announced yesterday. So Disney a lot of times will kind of sort of do something and then come back around later and then share an announcement with us. So we as, as travel agents, and I say we because my buddy Dave is a travel agent with a different agency now. And anyway, we don't get heads up about these kinds of things a lot of times. Sometimes they just kind of happen. I found out because of a tweet from a well-known guy who's part of the who gets a lot of the news directly from Disney and whatnot. And then, a few hours later, Disney sent out the notice for that annual passes would be paused, except for the Pixie Dust Pass, which is available exclusively for Florida residents. And the key word is they're paused, and we don't know what that means. So for the pandemic, that meant basically they were paused for an unknown amount of time. That still is kind of the same thing, but it likely won't be months. As Disney sort of ramps up and as they release more hotel capacity and more restaurant capacity. And just today, a whole bunch of reservations for Ohana in December became available. Like there's nothing. I'm going to be there for a few days with my wife, and some new availability popped up, which is kind of nice. So I'm going to be eating at Ohana for the first time. So yes, I've been to Disney a whole bunch of times, but that'll be my first time at Ohana. Secondly, Disney Cruise Line guests ages 5 and older will have to be vaccinated as of departures beginning January the 13th, 2022. And that is in accordance with current CDC guidelines. A lot of times cruise lines, by the way, don't make decisions purely based on what the CDC says, or, the World Health Organization, or what, mom and them is telling them to do back home. They are making decisions based on guidance from the CDC, from the WHO, from the local governments, from the country that the ship has been flagged under. So it's a multi-faceted decision-making process, and of course guidance from within the corporation and their own health officers. So it's a multifaceted decision-making process. Not every single cruise line has the same vaccination policy, has the same COVID protocol in place. As far as cleanliness and whatnot, yes, pretty much the same thing, but they're all a little bit different here and there as far as what they're going to require, as far as vaccinations, the testing requirements, and things like that. So all that being said, is if you do have a question about that and you're thinking about cruising as we get into the conversation tonight, make sure you talk to a travel agent that knows and stays up to date with these things, because these things often change on a weekly basis, sometimes even daily, it feels like. And a lot of times it's not just based on the cruise line, like I was saying, it's based on the season of the year. It can be based on the destination even of itself as well. Lots of things have come out of Destination D23 that happened this past weekend, like the announcement of basically a big sort of conference convention sort of thing for the official Disney fan club. D23 happened down at Walt Disney World this past weekend. Bunch of things they announced. Like we don't have time to go through all of it, but a few things to highlight is that there's more live entertainment coming back. We heard about Indiana Jones, the Epic Stunt Spectacular at Disney's Hollywood Studios. That has gone into rehearsals, which is awesome. That will be coming back and bringing the cast back on board there. Also, Fantasmic will be coming back next year, which is awesome. They're going to be adding an entire new show scene to it as well, that will be featuring some other characters that we have not seen in the show previously. So I'm super excited about that. Fantasmic gets a lot of knocks, I think, at Walt Disney World sometimes, but I'm hoping that this show will take it up a notch and it'll be great. There's nothing like seeing it coming from Tom Sawyer Island in Disneyland. Speaking of which, we'll be seeing World of Color coming back from Disney California Adventure as well. Also in Walt Disney World, we will be seeing the Festival of Fantasy Parade come back in Magic Kingdom. And again, a lot of other things that Disney is bringing back. So we're kind of getting into that sort of normal feel where Disney is always saying, we've got this coming and this coming and this coming, which feels, normal. It feels right. Also, military hotel and ticket rates for Walt Disney World are now available for 2022. Military hotel and ticket rates, there are some specific rules about those. So they're a valid military ID, and there are specific types of military IDs that are accepted to basically validate those rates. That will happen at check-in. Also with military level tickets, there's a couple of different types that are out there, and those also have to be validated with an active with a specific type of military ID. So you can't just have a family member buy them for you and then you go without said family member. And there's also some limits on the number of tickets you can buy and things like that. Do you have questions about that for folks that are militaries or veteran families? I fully support our country's military. They do an amazing job. It's such a wonderful sacrifice to make, and really appreciate what they do for us day in and day out. And then last but not least, in Disneyland over on the West Coast, Mickey's Toontown is getting a complete redo to be ready in 2023 with the opening of Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway over in Disneyland in California. When I was there just a few weeks ago, in Disneyland, walked back there to Toontown, and it was pretty quiet. Like there was not a lot going on back there. They had the entire facade of where Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway was there. I mean, you could just sort of see this sort of warehouse type building that of course was a show building, going to be the show building for it. And there's also this concept art that has also come up for Toontown as well. So looking forward to that and seeing what happens, and it's kind of like Walt Disney always talked about. The park will never truly be finished. So I look at construction walls as a sign of progress, and as a good thing, even though they can kind of be an eyesore sometimes, except, the bushes. Those are kind of fun to look at, I guess. Anyway, I don't know. All right, let's bring on my buddy Dave Adams right here. He is literally just a few miles down the road from me here in here in the north part of Alabama. He is a former client, now a friend, a podcaster over at Unrelated at Birth, and also the Top of the World DVC podcast that is co-hosted with our mutual friend Terry Weaver. He just got off Royal Caribbean's Odyssey of the Seas, but most importantly, he is the golden voice of the South.
Do you want me to do my intro that I always do for Unrelated?
Please do. Please.
Hold up. And welcome everybody back into another great, exciting, and wonderful Unrelated at Birth. As always, you've got the one, the only, the golden voice of the South, the human jukebox, Dave Adams, coming to you live and in living color all the way from the top of the state of Alabama. That's right, in Madison, Alabama, in the Unrelated at Birth podcast studios. And as always, I brought along my friend, the one, the only, John Rogers.
As always, I like that. That's solid. So how you doing, Dave?
I am well. I am I feel relaxed, and I don't normally get to relax because I normally do a Disney vacation a lot, and you don't relax at a Disney vacation, and I like those kind of vacations. I know there's a lot of people out there that don't. You and I have had the conversation a lot when you were helping me plan this trip, that my brain doesn't shut off when I go on vacation. And so I like the busy hustle bustle of a Disney vacation, or really hanging out on a cruise ship, because there's all that hustle and bustle you can do. My wife likes the as you see behind me, beachy vacations. Yes. And so a cruise was a great option for us, because it gives her a break from going to the Disney parks, lets her do her relaxing vacation, and it also lets me do a little bit of my hustle bustle, have fun, do things vacation.
Right. Well, that's solid. So, it's they're great for a number of reasons, like you said, because it gives you a variety of experience. There's typically something for everybody. You're seeing a lot of different things pretty much every day, and you're not having to unpack through to go to different hotels, and your food's included in most of your entertainment and whatnot. So it's pretty solid. So I want to talk a little bit about the ship, the entertainment, the dining. I want to talk about Perfect Day at Cocoa Cay, which I've been to that island many years ago, but not since it was kind of converted into Perfect Day.
Right.
I hope to be able to go back sometime in the not too distant future. But let's just kind of talk about it's just sort of your first impressions of the ship itself, because it's brand new. You all were on the first cruise right after the inaugural cruise, where they had the ship naming ceremony and all the things. You're on the first, I think
we were actually on the ship where they did the naming ceremony.
Gotcha. Okay.
This wasn't the first cruise on the ship. They had, in fact, we were supposed to be on the ship in August, but
that's true.
COVID.
That's true.
The ship itself is great. It's 15 floors, 16 really if you count the upper deck of the sports plex. There's so much to do that we didn't get to do it all. I'll tell you, there is one thing I wish that I could have done. They've got this bouncy house type thing. That if you put on VR goggles, those back when the malls were a thing, how they used to have those 3 trampolines with the elastic cords. It's something like that. But then they put a VR goggle headset on you. And so you do all the bouncy stuff. You have to be under 240 pounds to do that, though. I am not under 240 pounds. That's something's cool. They do have a lot of just little things on the ship up there near the observation deck, where you can watch the people do the bouncy house. There's a walkway of just glass, so you see nothing below you but the sea or wherever you are. And cool. I'm terrified of heights, so I got up there and my knees buckled. But it is kind of cool to you kind of go out over the ship. And you see what's below you. The other thing that I thought was really cool, and being terrified of heights, I thought I would hate this. I did the North Star when we were at Cocoa Cay, and it's amazing. It goes 30 feet above the ship, and so you kind of see a 360 of what's around you. And it's awesome. I've got some pictures from up there. I'll show you later. But it is really cool.
So for those of you watching at home,
Oh,
or listening, as the case may be, the North Star is basically this cherry picker arm sort of thing with this capsule on the end of it that you get in, that basically rises up off the ship and gives you a really cool view of panoramic view of what's around you. And there are several of the ships that are in this particular class, like the Odyssey, that have that. One of them sails to Alaska, which is pretty neat. So that Royal Caribbean has, so it kind of gives you a different view there. But that's a really cool. Really cool experience. So what
yeah.
else? What else on the ship kind of like
Oh,
stuck out
wow.
to you? Maybe
So
initially.
the Sportsplex is amazing. The floor itself you can play basketball on it, you can play cornhole, you can play all this stuff, but it also has bumper cars in there.
Yeah.
They also have, and we'll get into why I wasn't able to do that on this do it on this cruise, but they have a VR experience like the
Mhm.
Void used
Yeah.
to be at Disney Springs.
Sure.
And we weren't able to do it, but that was something it's awesome. You got to kind of walk past it and see it. They have a sports bar, and me being a sports guy, you can see I'm wearing my Brave stuff now, but
Sure.
me being a sports guy, they had as many TVs as a Buffalo Wild Wings
Wow. There you go.
in Playmakers. It was amazing.
Yeah.
The So Royal Caribbean is big on artwork,
Mhm.
and a lot of their ships, abstract art versus regular art, it's just all over.
Right.
This whole ship was basically a homage to art. There was huge chandeliers that spanned 4 floors, going up the elevator from the 4th floor up to the 10th floor was a big structure, looked like a water droplet,
Yeah.
and it was
I've
just,
seen pictures of it. Yeah, I know what
yeah,
you're talking about. Yeah.
it's amazing. It's all beautiful. The ship itself is just top notch beautiful. Um, I've done now 5 different cruise companies. Let's see: Norwegian, Disney, Carnival, Royal Caribbean. Okay, 4. I've now done 4, and I will say this is probably the most beautiful ship I have been on.
Mhm.
Um, they have a lot of good food options.
Right.
Um, the Windjammer, they've got Sorrento's pizza. They've got they've got the little ice cream stand. It's not self serve because of COVID.
Right. Well, in Windjammer normally would be also, but from what I understand, it
Right,
is not either. Right.
it is not. There are a few
Right.
things that are self serve, but it is not.
Yeah.
Um, but there is a lot of good food options. We'll get into it later. I know you just want first overarching views right now.
Sure. Sure. Sure.
But a lot of good free and some not very free food options. We'll get into food later. The theater there are 2 theaters on this ship.
Mhm.
There's one called 270 and one is the actual Royal Theater. The Royal Theater is beautiful. It is probably Broadway caliber.
Mhm.
270 is basically a lounge, but it has a stage, and the stage is very technologically advanced. It's got 4 TVs, like huge TVs on swinging arms.
Wow.
That and they use that for one of their shows called The Book. It is a almost Cirque du Soleil, not really Cirque du Soleil type show. Um, and the show itself is weird,
Mhm.
but to see how they've integrated the humans versus the technological robots on the ship in 270,
Right.
it's pretty cool. So I would give the ship probably out of 100, I'd say
Mhm.
95 out of
Yeah.
100. So it's definitely a ship you need to see at least once.
That's cool. That's awesome. So talk about dining, entertainment, just sort of the
Yep.
overall ship view. What about your stateroom specifically? Tell us what kind of room you had and what you liked about it, and maybe something you thought could have been better.
So we were in an ocean view, or a deluxe balcony room, and it's spacious. Storage wise, we brought 4 suitcases. John knows the reason why. We're not going to get into it, but we brought 4 suitcases, and we were able to store all 4 of our suitcases where it's not in the room. like
Cool.
under the beds, behind the curtain, whatever. They were out of the way.
Mhm.
Lots of storage. Like there was storage by my side of the bed, by Amanda's side of the bed, and above the bed, plus drawers and everything. The bathroom is actually, I mean, it's tiny. It's a closet,
Right.
but it is bigger than other closet bathrooms I've been on. The
Yeah.
Probably I'd say the only bigger bathroom is Disney's Family
Right. With the
Deluxe because
split
it's got
bath and
the
everything.
split bath.
Yeah.
Um, but the one thing I would change, I mean, granted, you don't go on cruises thinking you're going to have these great staterooms because they're
Right.
not. They're tiny. It's like 136 square feet.
Sure.
Um, Amanda and I both use CPAPs at night for sleep apnea, but the room only has a outlet on one side of the bed.
Mm.
So we had to call down to guest services, which guest services hated us by the end of the week. We had to call down to guest services and get an extension cord to plug in both of our CPAPs plus our chargers and everything.
Yeah.
And most staterooms need to have more outlets.
Yeah.
That's a given.
Yeah.
But this one did not have enough outlets at all. They had two USB outlets, which they thought about that, but it was on the total other side of the room
Gotcha.
from the bed.
Gotcha.
So,
Yeah.
but
Those little things can kind of make you go, but
Yeah.
I feel you. Yeah.
Yeah. Stateroom overall, I mean, it was a good stateroom. The TV service was great.
That's good.
What I like about this one is, I will say this will save you. Do the internet package. Do the Zoom stream, whatever it is, the faster internet
The
package.
faster one, yeah.
Yeah, they're great because all the stateroom TVs in the Odyssey now have the simulcast where you can, from your phone to your TV,
Right.
which is what Riviera has at Disney.
Yeah.
And so we were able to watch Netflix, Disney Plus, and all that when the internet worked.
Yeah,
there were some nights when the internet didn't work, but I think all Royal Caribbean had some satellite issues.
Yeah, and that's not that's just something about cruising. You can't depend on the internet regardless of what package you pay for. Sometimes it's great, and then sometimes not so much. So yeah, you have to lean on satellites, and sometimes there's weather, and who knows.
Yeah, and that is, so we'll get into this now. That is one of my first complaints I had about this week.
Yeah,
is we paid for this package.
Right.
I understand that goes down every now and then, but when you have such a technologically advanced ship that requires internet for 90% of this, like the Bionic bar, like the VR thing.
Yep.
When the internet was down, that didn't work.
Gotcha. So it wasn't just like oh, trying to stream Netflix, it wasn't working, but those other features were having some issues at the same time. Gotcha. All right.
The Bionic bar was down the entire day of our first Cocoa Cay.
Man.
Which for some, I mean, we stayed on the ship the second day, which it was fine. Right. But the first day we were on the island, so it was fine. But the VR never worked. Yeah. Because it was down with the internet. It requires so much extra internet. And so there were things that just didn't work.
Gotcha. So before we go into a couple other things, let's talk about let's pause real quick because y'all were on there for several days, and we're not gonna we don't have time to hit like everything that y'all did, because I know you did a lot. But let's talk about Perfect Day, because Perfect Day is one of Royal Caribbean's. It's actually their only complete private island that they own and operate as a whole, and it went through a massive kind of refurbishment and retooling a few years ago. It used to just be called Cocoa Cay, and now it's called Perfect Day at Cocoa Cay. That's its actual name, and in the Bahamas, and it's a wonderful family friendly island that has its own water park. It has an adults only beach. It has a lot of great things, some several food options there. So tell me some about that. What did you like about it? What did y'all do? Just what did you think?
So the island itself is beautiful. They've done a great job. In fact, getting up in the North Star the second day, we were able to see that they are doing some more construction on the island and doing an adults only area.
Right.
So they're building that as well. But the island itself is beautiful. They've got an Oasis Pool, which is the largest freshwater pool in the Caribbean
Right.
on the island. They've got a water park, which we didn't do that. And luckily we didn't because it was windy the day we were there. So they really didn't do as much. But you have to, if you do the water park, you have to have water shoes. So make sure that that's a little tidbit that I didn't know about.
Pro tip.
Yeah, pro tip for you. You can walk the entire island, but they do have trams. If you're going as just an adult, so let me tell you what you need to do. This is what Amanda and I did. We actually did the beach club, which is you get your own little quiet infinity pool. You get your nice little island. You get your little area on the beach. They also have the best food I have had on a cruise ship at the beach club.
Yeah.
Of course, it's unlimited. We did surf and turf, and it was a huge lobster tail, a filet mignon.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, potatoes, everything. I got, what did we have for the appetizer? It was hummus, some other kind of dip. There was some sea bass corn, and it was all just amazing food. Some tzatziki sauce.
So just to like clarify real quick, since other people may be watching or listening, for both of our audiences, so for the beach club and those food options that you have, were they included, or was that like an additional thing?
That is an additional thing. We chose to do that as kind of our excursion for the day.
Okay,
I think we found it at the right time. It was like $85 a person. If you did it that day, it's like $190 a person. So, pro tip: always book before. Here's where it's good to get a travel agent. I'm going to do a little shout out for you, John, and me, because I am one of myself. Always book with a travel agent, because we will look for the better prices for these excursions for you.
Right.
That way, and I'm type A. John knows this. He could have said, "Hey, I'll look for it." But no, I got this. I want to do it myself. But a lot of the times, us travel agents will look for the better price for you, and you get it almost. Well, I got it more than 50% off when I did it.
Sometimes if like now when cruising gets busier as ships reach up back to normal capacity, it will be harder to find some of those deals. But just like when cruise lines are looking to fill ships, sometimes they'll have last minute deals. They do the same thing sometimes with their excursions and opportunities on the private islands. Not always guaranteed that you can get a lower rate, but sometimes you can.
And it's always best to, even if you've already booked it, you can always cancel it and rebook it for the better price.
Yeah. And we did that. We did that with yours. We did that with yours. We move things around, and it's also maybe important to say about this cruise. This was not the first time this cruise was scheduled for you all, because something kind of happened because of the first time. This is supposed to be like a 10th anniversary, right? I think. Celebration for you guys. So I'm really glad that it was actually able to happen this time for you. And because I know both you and your wife really needed that.
Yes, we did
time together. So to unplug. So the sounds like I had an awesome time. Perfect day. Great experience there. So let's go back to some of the food options on board on the ship. What were some of your favorite included options that you have, and what were some of the more premium experiences that you had that maybe you had to pay a little bit more for?
So we only did the main dining room one night.
Gotcha.
And that was because the menu wasn't as good as it could have been.
Gotcha.
I think that there are still a lot of issues for COVID. The cruise lines are not back in full swing yet. You can tell by the menu. The food was okay in the main dining room. I had a steak. Amanda had, I don't even remember what she had the first night. She did have a crab cake for for her appetizer. I had a French onion soup. It was good. It wasn't amazing. The Sorrento's pizza was good pizza.
Yeah.
They had a really good tomato and mozzarella appetizer, like the matzo balls type thing. Very, very good. The the place to go for Royal Caribbean food is definitely the upgraded premium. We did 2 upgraded premiums, and then we did Playmakers one night, which is their sports bar, and that's one of the best burgers I've had anywhere. I did the onion tower, onion rings tower, and then a burger, and it was amazing. But then we did teppanyaki, which is their hibachi restaurant,
Right.
and that was a lot of fun. You sit and talk with people that you don't might not normally see on the cruise ship.
Mhm.
Then we also did a Giovanni's, and on any of the quantum class Giovanni's, I know Giovanni's is Royal's kind of staple, but the
Mhm.
quantum class, they have redone Giovanni's to kind of fit how the original Giovanni's in New York was supposed to be.
Gotcha.
It was this neighborhood market, and it's all the recipes that Giovanni himself, his grandmother, made back in Italy. And we had stromboli, we had fried raviolis, we had calamari. I had Amanda had fettuccine Alfredo, and she said it's the best fettuccine Alfredo she has ever had, and doesn't know if she can ever have it anywhere other than that cruise ship now.
Wow. That's saying a lot.
It really is.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember. I had the steak marsala, and it was amazing too. For dessert, I had tiramisu, and it's the best tiramisu I've ever had. She had the chocolate ravioli, and
Ooh.
there was it was like a stromboli,
Mhm.
but with Nutella and butter and banana inside of it.
Oh, wow.
It was so good.
I don't even like
but-
Nutella that much, and that sounds good.
Oh, I don't either, but I ate half of it. And then of course, here's my other pro tip: get the drink package. It's
Mhm.
kind of like the dining package with Disney.
Right.
You might be saving money, you might not be saving money, but
Right.
it's the peace of mind that you can just hand somebody your CPAS card and say, "Hey, give me a glass of wine," and keep
Right.
them coming. And
Yeah.
you don't have to think about how much that costs
Yep.
and keep it up in your head
Yep.
how much it is.
Yeah, just it's peace of mind, flexibility. Like if you're going to, if you're on a budget, like yeah, I get that. But like if you're going to celebrate something special, like y'all were, or I mean, you wanna do it right if you can. I mean,
Right.
save up that extra bit, price it out beforehand, and we'll as travel agents we can kind of help make sure you
Yep.
stay informed with all that and kind of what it includes
Exactly.
and what it doesn't include. So that's
Yeah.
solid.
So it's not all rainbows and sunshines on
Yep.
this trip, though.
This is true.
I will say the food, like you probably heard my voice earlier. The food on this ship was not what I expect a cruise ship food to be.
Mm-hmm.
The last cruise I did was Disney, and for anybody that knows me, I mean, crap, I have a Disney podcast. So for anybody that knows me, knows I eat, breathe, and die Disney.
Yeah.
And so I try not to compare Royal to Disney because it is 2 totally different cruises.
Right.
But when it comes to food, I've always heard people say, "Oh, Royal's food is so much better. It's the best of the class."
Yeah.
It was nothing to write home about. The Windjammer food was horrible. I
Yeah.
will say this now.
And,
It
and,
was
and
horrible.
Windjammer for our viewers at home is the included buffet option.
Yeah.
There's a Windjammer on every Royal ship that's out there.
Yeah. And now it was 20 years ago when I went on a Royal ship last time. It was close to the inaugural sailing of the Voyager of the Seas. So that tells you how long it's been since I've been on a Royal ship. But I can remember the Windjammer being actually decent food.
Mm-hmm.
And this one, for breakfast we went there and the eggs were very runny. The biscuits were stale. It wasn't good food. And now I don't know if this was because of COVID,
Mm-hmm.
if they just haven't got back in the swing of things, or what it would be. I don't know. Brad, we're not going to talk about that right now, man. Brad's a friend of mine, and we're not. John has specifically asked me not to talk about that. I will say, without getting into the details, I did buy a Thomas Kincaid
Yep.
Disney print, and it's not a print; it's the actual artwork, and it is
Yeah.
beautiful.
Yep.
So let's see if I
Yeah.
can. There.
Yeah, that's nice. I really like that a lot. It's one of my
Yeah.
favorite views of the castle too.
Yep.
Normally you see like in promotional stuff, it's always that straight on, like right down Main Street, but that side view that you get from like the Tomorrowland Bridge or whatever is pretty
Oh, it's
solid.
amazing.
Yeah.
There was one that they tried to sell us. It was a huge of the Thomas Kincaid 50th of Disneyland,
Gotcha.
and we looked at it for probably a good hour and just went back and forth and said, if our park was Disneyland, we'd pull the trigger in 2 seconds. But since we're not Disneyland people, we couldn't do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, but there
I
you go,
feel you.
Brad.
I feel you. Gotcha.
So yeah, the food was okay. Windjammer not great. They had the new taco stand out there on the Lido deck, and it wasn't
Mhm.
good.
Gotcha.
It was very dry. It sitting under the heat lamp taco
Yeah.
quesadilla type thing.
Yeah. I wonder like if I don't know, this is speculation. Kind of like you were saying, if it's a COVID protocol thing, um, or if it's related just to kind of being more of a newer experience. Kind of hitting their rhythm to make sure things are out in the way they should be. I think about my first experience and only experience so far at Space 220 when I
Yeah,
went a few weeks ago, and for me the food was great, but the service not so much.
really.
Yeah, it's we had, and just to like my little short snippet of an experience, we were part of one of the first, I think the first dinner seating, and was there for over 3 hours.
Holy crap!
The appetizer came out in a timely manner. We were sat, drinks, came out, appetizers came out, and then the entree came out. So this is for dinner. You get three courses. Space 220, the newer restaurant at Epcot next to Mission Space. And then, we waited a very long time for our desserts that finally came out, and then waited another very long time for our checks to come. The server, for basically the second half of the time we were there, didn't come back to refill our drinks and things like that. And I think a lot of that was because, okay, we were like one of the first seatings, and all of a sudden they get this big other sort of rush of people. The
Right,
hydrolator, their little elevator thing. It's not the hydrolator, but that's what it was. Anyway, it's the same thing.
elevator.
Yeah. That was not working initially when we got there. So there's a bunch of little like things that happen. I'm just saying, like when things are new, that they can be tested and beta
Yeah.
tested and evaluated and all these things. But you know, uh, maybe I get accused of being a little too nice sometimes. But I don't know. I can be
I wasn't
aggressive.
accused. I wasn't accused of that on
No,
this
no, no,
trip.
no. I know, but I'm just thinking like, maybe they're just sort of working out some of those earlier kinks. But then again, like Windjammer, honestly, I've only sailed on Royal Caribbean once. I have very similar memories of stale biscuits. I don't need to eat eggs, but bacon that was just kind of like floppy, and you weren't
Yeah,
anyway.
yeah,
But yeah. Anyway, just I get that, but I'm glad at least some of the food was good.
yeah.
What Some of the food was good. What are some other things that you think may have could have been done or handled a little bit better?
Yeah. We want to get into that now, do we?
Well, I mean, uh, is well, I mean, this is your like we're kind of like doing two things right now. So, like we want both of us want people to sail Royal Caribbean. They're a fantastic
Yes, they
cruise
are.
line that go to a number of different destinations around the world. They at the end of the day, they'll get you taken care of, which happened, in Dave's case at the end of the day that happened. Sometimes errors and mix-ups happen, which happened with Dave. uh,
Mm.
but anyway, speaking of which, I'm working on trying to help you get a bottle of what you were looking for.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah. I know some people that are sailing between now and then on the Odyssey. So
Okay.
hopefully we can work that out. But
I appreciate you.
see. We'll see.
I appreciate that. So
you can talk about that if you want to, real quickly.
What John is talking about, I'm a bourbon collector, and while I mean you've noticed me sitting here sipping on my bourbon right now, while I do drink the bourbon, there is a cool thing about collecting bottles that have a value of just memories.
Right.
And they have a barrel select pick of the Odyssey of the Seas, and it's Woodford Reserve, and it looks a lot like this bottle here. And instead of just saying Woodford Reserve on it, it's got Odyssey of the Seas barrel pick. Monday morning, the day we got on the ship, as soon as the port merchants open, which is their liquor store, I go in, grab the bottle of it, and bring it to the lady to ring out. Now, if you know anything about cruises, you don't get to take the bottles back to your stateroom with you. They ring it up, put it under somewhere, and then they say, all right, we'll bring it to you the night before we get off the ship. So Friday night rolls around. They say, all right, by 6:30, 7 o'clock, it'll be in your room. 8 o'clock rolls around, there's nothing there. So we call, and at first, they cannot find my bottles of bourbon. They say, well, we can't find your bourbon. What's going on? Did you pay for it? So I went through my folio, found the exact time I bought it, the exact purchase, exact amount, everything, and said, here it is. Find my bourbon. About an hour later, they still didn't do anything. So I walked downstairs, go to guest services. Talk to the lady in the line, and she says, all right, we found it. It just got delivered to the wrong room. Give us another 30 minutes, and if it's still not there, we'll call you. So we've gone from you didn't purchase it to, oh, wait, we found it. We've delivered it to the wrong room. We'll bring it to you. So from there, still didn't come to my room. So I go, and we're calling them. They're saying, okay, we got some issues. Just come down and talk to us. Amanda looks at me and says, oh, they don't know what they've opened. They don't know what they've asked for. So I go down there, and I'm telling the lady in line, I said, look, I know this isn't your fault, but somebody is at fault here. So they found it. The manager comes out carrying the box. Said, guess what? I found your bourbon. I'm thinking, all right, here we go. He opens the bottle or the box that says, here's your Woodford Reserve double oaked. I was like, yep, that's right. And here's your Woodford Reserve, just regular Woodford Reserve. I said, excuse me. No. I purchased the barrel select. I came to the ship Monday to get this specific one. No, sir. The cashier that rang you up said she remembers just scanning the SKU for just the regular one. You did not buy the barrel select. I said, sir, I'm not calling anybody a liar here, but I know what I grabbed. And I understand. I've worked retail. I know that that people have bad days.
Right.
But somebody's at fault here. Oh, well, I just got the runaround. So we go from you didn't purchase it to, oh, wait, we delivered it to the wrong room to, oh, wait, you purchased it, but you didn't purchase what you're telling me you purchased.
Yeah. And that's really frustrating. It's yeah.
Ends up being they finally just said, all right, fine. I'll give you another 10% off. I said, well, really, I want my bourbon that I purchased. I don't care if it's an empty bottle. Just give me an empty bottle with that on there. Right. Oh, sir, we don't have that. We don't have that. There were really only 3 of these bottles on the ship on Monday. Oh, and wow. I know I grabbed one.
Right.
And yeah. So if anyone's listening that has the Odyssey of the Seas barrel pick, I will pay for it.
He will. He's serious about his bourbon. That's for sure.
I am. Like I said, I enjoy drinking it, but I also enjoy the stories of finding the bottles out there.
Yeah.
So, like, I've got a Disney bottle that it was my unicorn until Disney decided to put like all their stock on the market.
Yep. Well,
So
there's that.
yeah,
So that, yeah, I hate it that happened. And like in every experience, vacation experience, there's always something that could have been better. And that definitely could have been better for you. But let's like circle back around real quick. Is there something in particular that you're like, wow, I really enjoyed that? Like, was there any sort of
yeah,
moment where you're like, I'm really glad I came on this, did this because
yeah. So
like,
I am big into, like, I love musicals. I
mhm,
love productions. I love music, dancing, everything. Um, their entertainment is second to none. There are four or five, yeah, five singers on this ship.
mhm,
Three of them are female and two of them are men. And probably the best vocalist I have heard on a cruise ship in a
right,
very, very, very long time. Um, their dancers are great. They're, like I said earlier, their tech is amazing.
right,
The last show. So if you get a chance, I can't remember the name of it, but it's their superhero show. You'll know what it is when you
right,
get on board. Um, they have 11 different seats blocked off because they have drones in this theater that are controlled by one of the actors, and they'll fly out into the audience. I mean, it is amazing. It's
yeah.
stuff it's better than something you would see on Broadway.
Yeah, like, keep
Um,
in mind, indoors in a cruise ship, flying drones around inside.
and
So,
in a cruise ship, dancing, people doing Cirque du Soleil stuff on a
yeah,
cruise ship where you can actually feel it moving. Like, we were booking it that night,
yeah,
and you can feel the ship swaying. And these guys were amazing. These
yeah,
guys and gals were amazing.
yeah. These are not like, you know, nightclub style shows. I mean, like you were saying, these are like Broadway caliber productions
Oh yeah.
that are out there. Real Caribbean has actually licensed several Broadway musicals, like a couple of them that come to mind. I think they've been on ships before, like Grease,
Yep.
Hairspray, and oh, there's another one on the tip of my tongue, and I can't remember what it was. But anyway, so just ones that are not like, some off Broadway production, but these that are like people will know, like they're
Yeah.
recognizable names, and they're good. I mean, they're good. They're good quality shows. So that's awesome.
We had a comedian who was, I can't remember his Keevy Smith, that was his name.
Yeah,
And he was on Everybody Loves Raymond.
there you go.
So it's actually good acts that are on the ship with you. So
Solid. Did y'all stop by the spas at all? Just curious.
Amanda did. Amanda
Okay,
did a pedicure and she did a massage.
gotcha.
I'm weird. I don't like some random person rubbing me. Um, but Amanda likes that. Um, we,
Careful, Dave.
we have already established on the show that I'm weird and an
Oh,
oddball.
geez.
Okay.
Yeah, a little
Um,
bit. That's all right. This is a departure from normal travel tips Tuesday. So no, that
for
works.
for normal type of my antics,
Yeah.
join us on Unrelated at Birth.
Yes. 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 There's some truth to that.
Yeah, but no, Amanda loved the spa. She said she did the hot stone massage. She
Ooh, there
said
you go.
that, yeah, it was great. She gets in there, and this tiny little 90-pound Chinese lady was her masseuse, and she thought, yeah, this isn't going to work, but she said that was probably one of the best massages
Yeah.
she's had.
Yeah. Yeah. I have no idea. Like, have you ever had one? Like, ever?
No,
Okay. I've had two. One at Senses by Disney at the Grand Floridian
yeah,
spa on our honeymoon 15 years ago. Uh, absolutely, like they said it was like an hour long. Like, I fell asleep at one point. Like, that's how good it was.
oh wow,
And like, I was just like, it was after a long day in the parks and everything, but it was great. And then the second one I had was on a Royal Caribbean ship, which was good as well. And like, again, tiny little like lady that came in there. I'm like, this is not going to be not no, this is not gonna be that great. But I mean, yeah, I was hurting in a good way, but it was
yeah.
good. It will it's I won't say it'll change your life, but it's definitely something worth thinking about again
Yeah.
sometime. Um,
I actually spent a little bit of time in the gym, and I did a couple of days on the elliptical, and their
there you go.
elliptical machines are amazing. I tapped the NFC on my Apple Watch,
Yeah,
and it immediately started everything up, and it booked everything. It's
that's awesome.
yeah, it was great, and you have a 360 view of the ocean as you're in the gym. You can
Yeah,
watch YouTube on the elliptical itself, so everything was really
when the
good
internet works.
when the internet was working. Yeah, you caught me.
Yeah, no, no, no. Download those shows before you go, I guess.
Definitely, yes,
Um,
definitely.
so yeah, that's really cool. The last time I cruised, I remember going to the gym once, maybe twice. It was either elliptical or treadmill or something, and I have a very distinct memory of getting on the elevator, sweaty, to go back down to the deck where our stateroom was, and like a complete stranger going, "Why are you all sweaty?" I was like, "Well, I just came from the gym." Like, "Why are you going to the gym on a cruise ship? Isn't it all about like stuff in your face?" I was like, "No, calories in, calories out. The more I work out, the more I can take in." They're like, "All right."
Exactly.
So,
That
you know,
that was my mindset. I
yeah,
'Cause the 2 days I went to the gym, the one night was we did, the hibachi,
yeah,
and then the next night the other day was the day we did Giovanni's.
cool.
So, that was my mindset.
There you go.
Yep.
There you go. Solid, man. Is there anything else that, as we kind of start to wrap up tonight, is there anything else that you want to add about your experience, like any sort of like why you think you should go on this specific ship or cruise with Royal Caribbean or um, anything else that you want to add to our
S
conversation?
so I'll say this, and John, you and I spent hours on end deciding Disney versus Royal Caribbean.
Right.
And if you are doing an adults only trip,
Hmm.
I would say Royal Caribbean is the way to go.
Right.
Um, as long as Royal Caribbean can get their back end stuff together, Royal Caribbean is the way
Right.
to go.
Yeah.
They do the drink packages are second to none. Like I said earlier, the ship internet when it's working is
Right.
second to none.
Right.
Their private island is amazing.
Yeah.
Their um their premium dining is amazing. Where Disney beats them is when you're looking at the family stuff
Right.
for cruises.
Yeah.
So if you are planning to do an adults only cruise, don't look at Carnival because then you're getting into the spring break college
Right.
crowd. You pay for what you get. Um, I would say you're looking at Royal Caribbean to do an adults only cruise.
Yeah. I will also mention, as far as like, level of service goes, and even amenities, niceness of, luxury of staterooms and that kind of thing. So Royal Caribbean International is a kind of an overarching corporation that includes several brands.
Yep.
Royal Caribbean Cruise Line being one of them. The other one I want to mention tonight is Celebrity, which is part of the same family, and they have a very similar level of service, in amenities, and a little bit kind of step up in food quality than the standard kind of Royal Caribbean Cruise Line. It's more of a premium cruising experience, not like small ship yacht, like private yacht kind of thing, but I mean larger ships that'll cruise to Alaska and the Caribbean, and several other kind of larger destinations. A lot of the same itineraries that you'll see, kind of like Dave did in some others, but just a little bit more of a premium experience that gives you a little bit more. They've often been compared to Disney Cruise Line as kind of a similar level
Hmm.
of experience. And one of the great things about Royal Caribbean and even Celebrity, one of the big differences between the Royal Caribbean brands versus Disney is that with Royal Caribbean, they will allow you to book group cruises for a minimum of 8 cabins. If you have 8 cabins sailing, you might qualify for some group cruising rates, which is awesome. If you're thinking about like a corporate retreat or a big family trip or something like that, Disney Cruise Line does not have group cruises. They rarely discount their cruises. They've recently had some promotions running, this is just not something that you saw pre-COVID. Pre-pandemic, the only promotions that they would have would be like a reduced deposit or their bounce back offers where you book a deposit for a future cruise, like while you're on that cruise before you get off the ship, sort of thing. And Royal Caribbean does that as well. But like Dave was saying, if you're looking for an adults only experience, you could do that with Disney. You could do it with Nori. You can do it with some others. But I think Royal Caribbean offers you a lot of fun and adventure. They have a lot of different excursion options for you, a lot of different food options for various palates and whatnot. And one of my favorite things about Royal Caribbean, they have a lot of itinerary options. They sail out of several ports in Florida, Port Canaveral, Fort Lauderdale, Miami, sometimes Tampa, and then around the Gulf Coast is, in other spots as well. And then they're popping over to Los Angeles for the first time in a while, I think next year. And then, they have a couple of spots where they go up to Alaska as well. And that's just around the U.S. They're also in other countries sailing abroad as well. So
yeah, you tried to get me on that Greece ship a couple of times.
Yeah, that's a sailing. I mean, the US dollar is doing well, I think, still in Greece. So for those that are thinking about that, I mean, it's an option for you. It's definitely an adventure if you're looking to do something different. So
anyway, it's all Greek to me anyway. So.
Wah, wah. In case you haven't noticed about Dave, he has an outstanding sense of humor. We're right there with each other,
just a little bit.
Yeah, well, yeah. I love a good dad joke or two. That's for sure.
That's my home run right there.
Yeah, for sure. Well, everybody, just want to thank once again Dave Adams for coming on Travel Tips Tuesday for tonight, and thank you to his Unrelated at Birth listeners as well for tuning in. This has been a fun time hearing a bit about his experience and a bit about his wife's experience as well on Royal Caribbean's Odyssey of the Seas. It's a fantastic ship. Like we've talked about, they offer a lot. And the last thing I'll say is keep an eye out. If you happen to listen to this before Friday this week, 2 days is Thanksgiving. And then just the day after that is good old Black Friday. There will be some Cyber Week specials. I've already seen some teases and previews of what those are going to be, and that they will be available for a limited time, related to, onboard credits and discounted cruise offers and so those sorts of things. So if you have questions about that and you want to know more, keep an eye on the social feeds for Dave and myself, and we'll be letting you know what's coming, and would love to be able to hook you up if it's a group cruise or you're just looking to go on a fun adventure for you and your family. So thank you all so much again for tuning into Travel Tips Tuesday and Unrelated at Birth, and we will see you all again very, very soon.
Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.